Why are you asking me?
I don't know, because you're the one that usually has to leave early.
Oh, no date tonight, so I'm good. We can go as long as you like.
Cool. Top 5 then. Welcome everyone to Top 5 Talents. Woo! There was much rejoicing.
It's the talent show!
Hello, my baby. Hello, my honey. Hello, my ragtime gal. Alright, I'm done singing. There will be no more singing. Alright.
Can there be dancing?
Tucker. I could dance, but then I'd have to get up, and we all know that I do not have a lower half of my body. I'm just a talking head here on the internet. I'm a puppet.
State of the Federation made you the man you are today.
Ha
That is a Starship Troopers reference.
Alright. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Top 5 talents for our great talent show. David, why don't you start us off while I look for where my list went?
Oh, number 1 or number 5?
Let's go from the bottom up.
Okay. My number 5 is Rebellion. Rebellion is a mirror universe talent, and it says if you're defending against a ship that has a greater hull value than your ship, you may discard this talent, make that ship roll 2 less attack dice, and after their attack's done, you get to make a free attack against that ship with your primary weapon. It's kind of nice. I like running it on the ISS Defiant. Would still work with the ISS Enterprise, actually, now. But I made this list before we had the ISS Enterprise. Yeah, anytime you get a free attack, it's a good thing. Anytime you're making them attack you with less dice, it's probably a good thing. Most of the time, you figure ships with big hull are rolling 4, 5, or 6 dice. So now they're rolling 2, 3, or 4 dice. That takes you out of the one-shot range.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's 5 points. Yes, it's a discard, but it's not an action. And 5 points for a free attack is probably worth the points. So, I'll take it. I like it. It works. Yes, it's situational, but yeah, in a world dominated by Borg, this works on a lot of different ships.
Indeed. Especially when those Borg are so slippery that they want to get out of Urex anyway.
Yes.
Cool. Nice choice. Tucker, what about your number 5?
So, this is another one where I have an honorary mention.
Mm-hmm.
The honorary mention is to a talent that is not particularly great, but is a lot of fun. David, you know which one this is.
Yep.
We won't go back!
I should have been expecting that.
You really should have been expecting that.
I should have turned down my headphones for that one. I knew that was going to happen.
You knew that was going to happen. It's just so...
Does that have an exclamation point at the end?
Of course it has an exclamation point at the end. People accuse us of, if it didn't have an exclamation point, it wouldn't be as fun. People accuse us of, on the show of being like super competitive, like about, oh my god, win more all the time, and like, yeah, that's mostly true, but it's like, this is a really fun talent to play with just because I like screaming that at the top of my lungs. Anyway.
All you need is to let your beard grow out.
I can do that. Which, by the way, screaming at the top of your lungs every time you activate this talent is actually a really good disincentive for people to gank your upgrades. I'm just throwing that out there.
Especially if you start doing it in round 1, then every opponent that gets matched up against you just starts dreading the fact that they're playing you.
Going for the psychological game.
Anyway.
Exactly.
Okay, so please don't actually do this. You will get kicked out of your game store. Anyway, so So my actual number 5 is a talent that has a lot of versatility. The reason it's ranked so low is because, number 1, Dreadnought builds are a lot weaker these days. And number 2, it only works with 1 captain. That alone should probably be enough for people to figure out that I am, of course, talking about Vulcan High Command.
Damn.
What?
I thought we were going Tantalus Field.
No, that doesn't crack my top 5.
Yeah.
More than any other list, my top 5 elite talents is influenced by what has been historically good.
Gotcha.
Vulcan High Command was key to a number of regionals winning builds. It was very good in combination with lore. Obviously, it was the only time anybody ever ran it.
Mm-hmm.
It was very good in combination with fleet captains on dreadnoughts, and I miss those days.
That was fun bringing like 10 people around in your little clown car of a cube or a sphere,
or Voyager or something. Yeah, it was fun times. It's a talent. You add 2 slots, like that's just amazing. And they can be tech slots. They're the good slots, the crew and tech.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's great. Yeah. I really feel that this one speaks for itself.
Oh yeah, had a lot of things you could add on. Had a lot of versatility since it basically was bring more cards to the table, and it was really best when used with the fleet captain, so it was free.
And obviously, I mean, you never use it with anybody but lore. Like a Vulcan captain on a Vulcan ship.
All right, my number 5. This one is a limited edition. It's another Vulcan talent. This one came with a prize ship. I like it a lot because it lets you take. It takes kind of the same route as Mirror Bashir did, in allowing you to have a kind of support ship that really screwed over other bigger ships. And that talent is Diplomacy.
I thought that's where you were going with that.
Diplomacy, for those of you who don't know it, is a talent that you use an action, you discard it, you target a ship in range 1 to 3. Both of your ships, Tucker, your microphone's picking up a lot of stuff.
Yeah, sorry, I was getting my power cord in.
Gotcha. You target someone within range 1 to 3, and both of your ships cannot attack nor be attacked, and you remove all tokens from beside them. Which is interesting because now I got to see if that means other tokens as well. But basically, this was like my secondary choice on like a Martok science vessel. I could use my little tiny science vessel for its support role and still have it say, oh look, your biggest ship is not attacking and my smallest ship is not attacking. Big loss for me.
Ooh. I was under the impression that was Vulcan only for some reason.
We can all be diplomatic, darn it. Picard was an expert at it, although I never use it with him.
Yeah, that seems like a waste.
I'm gonna have to look into that card now.
Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah, it's all right. I mean, attack cancellation is never bad.
Discard all tokens from beside your ship card and the target ship except for auxiliary power tokens. So, some other certain tokens would also be removed. I believe that would include the ablative hull armor token from Voyager, but it would not include things like tribbles and I don't know what else is a token, like the adaptation token from 7 of 9.
Or the whatchamacallit, the bacteria token.
Maybe.
No, they ruled that it doesn't work with. So concussive charges is really the go-to to ask people about this, and Warp ruled that concussive charges doesn't get rid of them.
Yeah. It's the difference of whether it puts it by your ship on the play field, which is usually where you're supposed to put like battle stations and evade and target lock and all that, and putting tokens on your ship cards, which is things like tribbles and yada yada. But yeah, my main use is to is basically a protection for my other ships for 1 turn.
Yeah.
I like it a lot. All right. Let's see. Where are we going back to next for number 4? How about Tucker? Tucker, what are you doing for number 4?
All right. So my number 4 is this is a card that was very good good early on in the game. It got a brief renaissance during whatchamacallit, Collective OP2, and it I don't know. I like it a lot because, frankly, there are not many reusable elite talents in the game. In fact, of this list, I only have one card that is not reusable, counting Vulcan High Command as reusable because it always works. But this is a card. There are not many cards that also let you spend an action and get an extra attack. So this card is, of course, counterattack.
That's my number 2.
Almost made my list, strangely enough.
Yeah, it's a good one.
It is. Major drawback, of course, being it doesn't work on 360 arcs.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah,
not great on Romulan ships, ironically enough. The ones that you want permacloaked. Because you can't take double ox. Or if you take double ox, you can't clear it to take the action again. So, but yeah, I like counterattack. It does many things well, and bonus attack if you hurt me.
Right.
So,
yeah, my only problem with counterattack is I had to work around it more than I really wanted to. I had a build that ran a Picard counterattacking bioship, and the best way to use counterattack was to have a low agility and evade tokens so that you could specifically take exactly 1 damage to your shields to trigger counterattack. Because as often as not, I would completely evade the attack, and counterattack doesn't trigger if you don't take damage.
I'm not. I mean, I'm not saying it's perfect. It's just.
It's definitely
I
a very
like it a
solid
lot.
card. It's a solid card.
I find it's more of a threat than anything else, and a lot of times if I counterattack, people won't shoot my ship.
It's a deterrent.
Yeah.
There are very few that we have in this game.
Yeah.
That's cool. All right. Let's see. My number 4 is more of a utility one. It saw some play at regionals, at some of the highest levels of play, because it is a very high level play to make, to when to decide to use it, because it requires a certain kind of positional advantage, and you need other cards to take care of that for you. And that is one we will be getting very shortly in retail format as faked messages. Faked messages, anything, you choose a target, discard the card, target a ship outside of range 3 from you. That ship now does a 1 forward maneuver. Can really screw up somebody, especially if they're like Borg trying to run away from your fighters. I really like actually, again, specifically with Borg, I like how it messes them up, because generally they want to try to spin or back up. Forcing them to do 1 forward can actually put them in some pretty bad positions. Other than that, just making sure that one of your opponent's ships is not going to be able to get away, or even better, if this is on a support ship that is farther away from the battle, you could have your main ships engaged, and this one would once again support by making sure a key enemy ship doesn't turn around, or doesn't turn in a useful fashion, things like that. It was used a lot in regionals as a counter to Crossy kind of shenanigans, or to enable Crossy kind of shenanigans, making sure that if you knew where the enemy ship was going to be, you knew you could be in this particular range in order to use some of your other crew abilities. That's why I like it. Anywhere else?
No.
It's a really good one.
I should have put this on my list. This should have been there instead of counterattack.
What, fake messages?
Yeah.
It's cool. One of us remembered it. But yes, it's definitely a neat one. There are very few counters to it. One of them actually being Uhura, which makes it useless. But I have managed one time in one game to have an opponent send their tactical cube off the board because they were pointing in a bad direction. Oh, Low Thunder even just asked it. Have you ever used fake messages to send an enemy ship off the board? That one time, and it was terrible, and I felt really bad for my opponent. All right, moving on. Number 4, David.
My number 4 is stalking mode.
A newer one.
Yes,
This one
very
definitely has
newer
uses.
But yeah, just the fact that it's a persistent talent. And just a refresher, it's an action discard to target a ship within range 1 to 3, and their skill is reduced by 2. And in addition, you get +1 attack die against the target ship. And both of those effects last until the end of the game.
And that's even if your ship goes away.
Yeah.
Well, you won't get the plus attack die because it only works on your ship, but the
Right.
captain skill reduction works forever.
Yeah. And that's huge. I mean, both getting 2 bonuses like that is just a huge benefit, and also just, I mean, extra attack die for an action discard. I'd take stalking mode, probably not as my number 4 talent, but I'd probably take it as a talent, even if it was just +1 attack die for the rest of the game.
Yeah.
But also throwing on a captain skill reduction for the entire game, that's just a huge boost. And you just pick one of their captains and say, hey, you're -2. It's a win-win card.
It's a lot easier to deal with a Picard who is a lower skill than your Picard.
Yeah.
Or for anyone who wants to run like moving last cloaking sensor echo shenanigans.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. I like it.
Or even a tactical drone sphere 2 skill lower than what it is. I mean, anything I can see early helps me.
Can we do -2 captain skill? I think that would be enjoyable.
I
That's definitely moving first.
mean, they've never said that there's they've never said there's a floor to captain skill.
That's fun. All right. Let's see. I'll go ahead and grab up number 3 here. This one was one of my favorites back in the day. I think it could be useful again. Again, like we were talking about earlier, extra attacks are always a useful thing. This is not technically an attack, but it does damage without allowing you to roll defense dice. Like one of my other favorite cards, Cloaked Minds. I like it a lot. This is back before talents were made unique. And one of the cool things I like to play around with, especially in multiples, I stab at thee.
Ah, yes. We all know. I'm pretty sure that the evaluation process Will goes through for every single OP is, okay, is this the one where it's going to be viable to load a Tholian ship up with 5 copies of I Stab at Thee?
Hey, it's not usually a Tholian ship. Usually it's a science vessel. Come on now. But yes, that combined with something that lets me move again, which I want for most of my ships anyway, usually allows me to get in range pretty nicely. 2 or 3, even just running 2 or 3 copies of this and then throwing it into the middle of a bunch of fighters would do massive amounts of damage, considering that they each roll separately. So I could get away with getting rid of 3 tokens on any number of fighters that were in range at a single time, and it would be hilarious.
Fighters? What fighters?
We don't play with fighters around here.
Fighters? We don't need... We don't got to show you any fighters. We need no stinking fighters.
David, how about your number 3?
My number 3 is invaluable advice.
Another good one.
Because, you know what? It is never bad to be able to place a battle stations token. not take a battle station's action. Just place the token. Because even if you're taking Picard 9 or Ducat 7, and you take a battle station's action, you might bump. You might want Ducat on a cloaking scimitar and want a battle stations for attack and defense. You have options. So, and it's a 2-point talent.
It is bargain basement cheap.
Yeah, and that's all I'm going to say on invaluable advice.
Are there any 1-point talents?
I don't think so. Oh,
There
the only
are
thing
not.
that's not the only thing that's not to like is that it came on the Ravelairst, which is a prize ship.
Mhm.
But I think of prize ships, it's probably one of the cheaper ones to hunt down. So
Yeah, it's a pretty useless prize ship.
yeah. So this is probably the only good card on that prize ship. So it's unique, and a lot of people won multiples. So that's why it's easy to hunt down.
On the bright side, if you don't already have a brain ship, this one is probably as good as getting the retail brain ship.
Yes.
It's a matter of whether you'd want invaluable advice or brain aid, and I would use invaluable advice probably more often, strangely enough.
Yes. Because Bohica is better than Brain Aid.
Good old Bohica. Tucker, number 3?
So number...
Tucker?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Oh, that was weird. Number 3 on this list is probably my personal favorite. I admit that the other 2 are stronger, but it's my personal favorite. I used to use it in builds all the damn time. And I don't know why I still don't, actually. This would go really good on a lot of board ships, especially the Diamond. Huh.
So it's not Borg Alliance then?
No. No. It is the original Alpha Strike talent, and that is Engage.
Oh, that was a pretty neat one.
Yeah, no,
It doesn't work well.
Oh
It doesn't
my
work well
God.
on most Borg ships. It works better on the Diamond.
Yeah, it works. That's what I was saying. It works really well on the Diamond. I didn't even think about this until now, but like, yeah, no, like think about it. Like you can spin twice or something in the next round. Green spin to get rid of the Ox token, and then do it again. Like that's kind of, I kind of like that.
Donuts in space.
Yeah, pretty much. Now I'm sitting here wondering, like, what's the easiest way for me to get that on a board ship? Anyway, so, yeah, this was in for a very long time. Remember, I was fed before I was Borg, and for a very long time, this was in just about every build I made. Like, I love this talent to death. It's just got a lot of potential. The ability to just say, I'm going to take another movement to perfectly position myself is great.
So much better before 360 arcs became a thing.
Yeah, I know. That was why I stopped using it.
It's sad.
Yeah, I guess actually it's probably not going to matter that much. I might do it if you can somehow figure out how to afford it in Sphere Fighter Fighters. It might be like okay against like 3 Borg or no, I'm sorry, I had that the wrong way around. 3 Borg would like it against Sphere Fighter Fighters.
Yeah, because again, you really want it
run-
on the Diamond instead of the Spheres, because the Spheres don't have green spins. They only have green straights.
You run Sphere, Diamond, and then 1-point talent holder captain. Go. I know there's one.
You'd have to use OXP to get it.
Yeah, well, you'd have to use OXP to get it, which is fine though. Like that's an acceptable cost to me.
Probably something like Magnus Hansen or Data or something.
No, those are all 2 points. I'm looking. I swear to God, there's one. Like, am I going crazy?
Did you? It would have to be something later because there's not a lot in the in the really early versions.
No. Ben
Data and Magnus Hansen.
the cheapest one, and he's 2.
But again, OXP and you can get it down to 1.
Yeah, but you
But-
need 4 for the faction penalty. You need for the engage. It's 3 points base.
Yeah, so it doesn't work.
Yeah. Well, poop.
Well,
Still, it was a fun talent, and it shaped a lot of gameplay, and it was really good.
Oh my God! Mirror Warp, Admiral. No, he doesn't give you a talent, does he?
yeah, he
Does
does.
he? Yeah, there you
Yeah.
go. Mirror Warp. Look at that. Mirror Warp. 1 point. Generic captain. Engage. Yes. Love it. No, shit. That still doesn't work.
Mirror Work is 2 points as a captain.
No. He's 2 points as an admiral and 1, and I thought he was 1 base and he'd go to 0. No, damn it. Mm-hmm.
It's all right. We'll figure out a way. Moving on to number 2.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see.
No,
David?
I don't think they're ever going to give you a 1-point captain that has a talent slot.
Maybe. Boeing Pilot doesn't have one, does it?
No, I was just thinking of that.
Wait. What about... Hiran doesn't have a talent. Damn it, Hiran.
Why are you so useless?
Ah! The one thing you could possibly be good for ever.
You're good for +1 attack captain skill. All right. Let's see. David, we already did your number 2, so we'll go to my number 2. What was on here? Oh, yes. I hope I didn't steal this one from any one of your lists, but as we all know, this shaped a lot of the game as we know it for a very long time. Along with my favorite captains, Wei Yun and Sopek. The talent that goes along with them, of course, conditional surrender.
Yeah, you don't even have to, like, if you could have just said, this is the one you use with Wayne and Soap, and you're like, yeah, of course that's my number 1.
That's your
like,
number 1?
Yeah, like, I'm actually actively upset that you put something above this.
Oh no, it's terrible. I put it a little bit lower since it doesn't work as well nowadays, but
No, it totally works well nowadays. Like, you can totally run Wayne condition or like Sopek conditional surrender, and it'll work. Like, I mean, yeah, you know,
it's not as invincible as it used to be. It's a little more vincible.
You literally just described it as it's not as invincible as it used to be. I really want to know what you think is better than slightly less invincible than it used to be.
Well, let's continue. What was your number 2 then, Tucker?
My number 2 is it is one of the cards that massively redefined the metagame when it came out, or like when people figured it out. It's still pretty good, and it's super annoying to play against, and it combos with your number 3, Will.
Cheat death.
Cheat death!
Yeah!
Always. God, that card is annoying.
Solid card. Somebody with Kirk and 4 cheat deaths for 3 points each.
God, do you remember that? I remember that. That was so awful.
It made me long for a disabled captain crit.
You know, I don't know why somebody doesn't just do that with Voyager again. That seems like it might actually be viable. It fits under 50 points.
One of my opponents back in Throwing Web did a cool thing. He had cheat death on the sideboard, and he was also running the ablative generator. So he had the ablative generator, which dropped his shields. Attacked to killed him through it. He pulled cheat death off the sideboard the turn he thought he was going to be vulnerable, so it saved him. And then he came back the next turn with his only 1 hull, but then he still had all of his shields, so I had to go through it again.
Yeah, well, let me tell you, I also have a great arena story about cheat death. It was great. So this guy gets absolutely stomped in the captain battle, right? But the captain's battle, because they both ran swarms, which was a good thing to do in arena, it was almost going to time. And what happened was...
Night, Little Thunder. See you later.
What happened was, if his opponent... And this was for first place, by the way. If his opponent didn't destroy his Miranda class, he would win on points. They were down to basically the last roll of the game on a time had been called, right? So his opponent rolls, and he rolls enough damage to destroy the Miranda class, and he's like, and he grins, in that way you do, and he's like, I have cheat death, and his opponent's like, oh my god, what happens? And then there's this moment of realization everyone has around the table. He can't use it because his captain's dead. It was just, oh my god, that was, oh wow, that was, his opponent the guy who won was so happy. And it was one of those, it's one of those, one of those great, oh no moments. It was, oh man, that was, and it was just a really epic game on top of that, and it just came down to that, and just came down to the fact that his captain was dead. Oh, man.
And that is what's going to happen now that we have Madrid and Tantalus Field.
Okay, what's David's number one? I want to hear this.
Let's hear it, David.
Well, my number one should make Tucker's heart happy. Because I know he's a Klingon.
At heart.
What?
Yes, heart. I'm like, wait, wrong show. I don't have to worry about the music.
Oh no, I will pull that thing up.
Oh, I am already on my iPad.
Oh god.
And that is Defense Condition 1. Because anytime you can get battle station tokens around.
In an area of effect.
In an area of effect. And range 2.
How do I not have the YouTube app on this?
Yeah, range 2. Not just range 1. It's a good thing. And it's not just Klingon ships. It's all of your ships.
Oh, yeah. And it's, especially for being a Klingon thing, it's very solid since they're cloaking and they'll be needing battle stations anyway.
Again, this is another one of those cards that's prize ship card, and I realized that after I put it out. And
a little bit harder to find, maybe.
A lot harder to find these days.
The Chotang was one of the most sought-after prizes.
Yeah.
And the Kraton is getting pretty impossible to find, too.
But yeah, if you have this card, it's definitely one to consider, especially now that we're in the 120-point games.
Yeah, now they can actually fit 4 or 5 ships in a build.
Yeah.
Decent ships in a build.
If we ever get up to the 150-point games, I really think this card's going to shine. But yeah, I like Defense Condition 1. I don't run it often, but I think it's a solid card. And that's what I went with here. I don't know that these are all amazing cards, my list, but they are solid cards that are going to work no matter what you come up against.
I find it almost morally offensive that conditional surrender is not on your list.
It was really on the short list, and
he just thinks too highly of Madrid. All of our doom and
not that.
All our doom and gloom talk.
I got so burnt out on conditional surrender builds. I couldn't put conditional surrender into my top 5. I know why it's really good. And I knew you guys were going to put it there, and that's why I was pretty safe to say, you know what, it's on my very short list, and I can say that, and I acknowledge it's very good, but I don't need to put it on my top.
You were just trying to get more use out of your list. I see how it is. Gaming the system.
Exactly.
You are metagaming the top 5, sir.
It's not one I always reach for. I have to have a specific build to use conditional surrender, and I'm not always going there. So.
Mm-hmm. Well, apart from that, I do think it's kind of neat that out of 5 talents for each of us, only 2 talents total overlapped. We got a lot of a nice variety here. Of course, with my number 1 being the very last one, the one that Tucker is scratching his head over, saying, "What will possibly put on there that's better than conditional surrender?" This is one of my favorite cards in the whole wide world. And I suppose maybe putting it at number 1 might make me a pompous windbag a little bit. But it deals with anything and everything you could possibly come across.
Oh, for God's sake, that is not better than conditional surrender.
Superior intellect.
Not better than conditional surrender.
If I get your shields down, your surrendering is mine.
Or I could just kill you if your shields are down.
I've had a lot of fun times with this card. Even before conditional surrender builds were a thing, this takes 1 card of any type if your shields are down. And I've been using it from wave 1 to wave now, or wave 0 to wave now, to steal Sulu off of a very annoying ship that wouldn't die in the last hit, to steal Borg a Blade of Hull Armor, to effectively increase the hit point gap between me and my opponent by 8, to take just a card so I have a higher surviving fleet than my opponent. And considering how surrender is now that we're in 120 and we have more ships, surrender is no longer as invincible as it used to be.
It doesn't matter. It is not worse than superior intellect.
Superior intellect will get you out of any situation with the right tactics. Conditional surrender is great, is very focused plan. Also, I like to say that I'm smarter than everybody. Ha! It's good to be conned. No, I'm just messing with you guys. I love superior intellect. Also, it works as an action, so even if I could try to destroy you, then there's nothing in 5 points that will deal 8 hull damage to a person. This will at least help me complete that destruction. If you're using something terrible. Also stealing. We love stealing. You know I love stealing. How could you not know I love stealing?
I know you love stealing. I didn't think you valued it more highly than literally the best elite talent ever printed.
The only reason I stopped using superior intellect is because we got Croesus. And Croesus was just as good of almost as good of a counter to surrender. For the most part.
I think superior intellect's going to be better with the new shields, the Gorn shield.
Mm-hmm. Steal more things. It was the only thing that could steal Borg upgrades, which was great.
Sorry, you have to get their shields down. Never mind. It doesn't matter.
I like it. It's a good card.
Yeah. Yeah.
That is our top 5, as much as Tucker would like to hate to allow me to leave superior intellect up there.
Let me put it this way. In a 1v1 duel, okay, 1 ship against 1 ship.
In the Mutara Nebula.
Okay, no, not in the Mutara Nebula.
All right,
definitely. You don't just get to say everybody's shields are automatically disabled.
I say what I want. I've got superior intellect on my side.
No, see, the reason, like, okay, unless you're in the friggin' Mutara Nebula, conditional surrender beats superior intellect one-on-one every single time because you will never get my shields down ever.
True. But in the rest of the world that we play in, where it's like 3 fighters and 4 Borg ships on each side.
superior intellect is still useless because I'm not running upgrades.
You're running an upgrade. You're running conditional surrender. Yes. No, you're not changing my mind on this, Tucker. I accept. Look, I put surrender as number 2. Don't you be giving me grief here, sir.
I have no idea why I'm this upset. I really don't.
Because you want to yell broken.
To 1A and call it a day.
All right, so that is our top 5, everyone. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Hope you guys got some useful news for Nationals. Nationals, once again, is coming up on the 11th. That's a little less than 2 weeks. Good luck to everyone who's going to make it out there to Maryland. There has been a venue change if you haven't seen it already. I think it's the same store owner. They just moved or something.
Yeah.
But if you are managing to get out there, good luck to you guys. And make sure you show up to the right venue. Say hi to Andrew Parks for me over at the D&D stuff. You can try to convince him to come back to Star Trek if you want, but I think that ship has sailed long ago. Any good news since then? Since last week?
Will?
Yes.
You're saying Andrew Parks will not return to SotF?
He won't go back!
He won't go back! I don't know why I didn't see that coming.
Will, you need a picture of a dead horse, and then you need a picture of Michael Jackson.
With that,
He won't go black!
No.
What?
Beat it.
Beat it.
Michael Jackson. He won't go black.
Please don't get me cut off the air for political incorrectness, sir. All right. With that, before it gets any worse, we're apparently way too tired right now.
Back.
We'll be back next week.
Maybe.
With another episode, hopefully. Until then, though, guys, good luck with all your games. Have fun, and may Q be generous with your dice. Have a good night.
We won't go back. State of the Federation is a production of Will S. in association with Tucker C. and David M. We are not associated or affiliated with WizKids Games, and except where specified, WizKids did not endorse or approve any of our podcasts. All copyrights are copyright of their respective rights holders.